Thrifty here, bringing you 7 Deadly Sins manga review. This was chapter 304, titled The Executioner's Request. It continues with that epic scene that we got from last time of Zeldaris jumping in the sky, cutting down that creature, and his father asked him, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Well, I need you to get out of the middle of his body because I need him to become Demon King so he can keep his promise. But there's also something I wanted to ask you, Father." And he asked his dad, "When you gave me the order to execute all the vampires, did you do it because they really were going to betray you, or did you do it because you know I was in love with, I bet her name is Gala? I'm probably butchering her name, but the vampire chick that he was in love with and having an affair with, I guess you could say, or having a relationship with, not affair, I'm sorry, a relationship with." And his father was like, "You're petty. I'm just doing my job as a father and making sure that to take care of your disease, because weakness is a disease, and being in love causes you to be weak. So I wanted to help you from there, and I was overlooking that and trying to build you up to be, a successor, but that seems to fail." And he takes his little wings that were left on the floor, and he turns it into a greater demon, and he sends it to fight Zeldaris. And when he's fighting that in the sky, you have him and Bond still going at it. Then we switch over to Meliodas fighting the Demon King in his head, and he's laying a beat down on him. And 7 Deadly Sins, they looking at this and like, wow, he's gotten stronger. And then King, he said something very interesting. He was like, "Meliodas is using my technique." If you remember with Disaster, his magical ability is basically to do with nature. And remember how he was taking water and he was solidifying it to very small orbs with intense power. And he was using that and flinging it at Meliodas. Well, technically this Meliodas is doing the exact same thing. But instead of using nature, because he can't manipulate nature, but he can manipulate darkness, which all demons are born with that magic. So he's manipulating his darkness into orbs, and he's just doing incredible stuff with them. He's shooting them like spears at his dad. He's using them as shields. At the same time, he created a tornado to block everything, but while at the same time absorbing everything back and throwing it. He's doing a lot of incredible stuff with this one little technique that he's copying from King. So that just shows you how strong and smart Meliodas is. So to get all these ideas just from that one little scene, not to mention that he's basically almost at full power again once he defeats his dad and get his body back. Then you have this good moment, beautiful moment between the Sins and him, Meliodas, where each one states something precious to him. It starts with Escanor saying, "Even though I'm weak now and I'm in this form, I've always had respect for you as a friend, and I'm willing to give up my life for you if needed." And he was like, "Thanks, but I don't want you to do that." Then Merlin stepped up and she was like, "If you ever give up on Sis again, you have to keep your promise to me." And she smirked. And then you had the moment where, in the panel next to her, you have right there Escanor looking at her like, "What's the promise?" Because she looked kind of happy when she said that. So then he's kind of like, what type of promise did he make? Then you have Gother saying, "Thanks to you, I have friends now, and I have my own thoughts and feelings." Then you have King and Deanne saying in the same chapter, "The dragon sin is the strongest sin, and when you get back, we have to party." And Meliodas is like, "Yep, we have to drink all night and party when I get back." Then we have Elizabeth ending off the conversation with, depending on which translation you're reading, she basically says something along the lines of, "I love you and I can't wait for you to come back." And Meliodas was like, "Believe it, I'm going to come back." And they all leave the mental realm to go back to their body and help Bond, where Meliodas is just laying a smackdown on his dad. And when this is going on, we switch back to Bond and Zeldaris fighting the Demon King in Meliodas' body. And he basically pins down Bond face down into the ground, mug him. And then Zeldaris finally gets to defeat that demon that he's fighting, but his dad takes away his commandment, which protects him from magic. And he shot a magic beam at him, which kind of it's weird because it looks like a beam, but I guess it was really a sword because he got cut. There was no impulse, like a bullet wound or anything. So, but he basically cut him down, and You see him just falling, unconscious, falling. And he was like, I leave everything up to you, Meliodas. And Bond saw this, and he was like, you bastard, you attack your own son. And he got upset. And he just smugged him off him. And he did like a roundhouse kick to push him back. Then we switch over again to Meliodas, and that's when the chapter ends saying, I'm gonna beat you. And you see the Demon King is spitting up blood. And Meliodas, it looked like he made more of those black orbs. So, really quick chapter. It was more just sentimental and people talking. I mean, yeah, you have Bond and them throwing hands and Meliodas throwing hands still, but it was more talking than anything in this chapter. And it wasn't like a boring build-up chapter or the talking was useless. It was actually impactful, trying to build up Bond and Meliodas to have the courage to hurry up and finish his fight. But yeah, I know a lot of people are saying since the Demon King came back and he's fighting, is the Supreme Goddess, is she going to come back and eventually fight them? What's gonna happen? Can they stop her? If after Meliodas kicks him out the body and he joins and get his body back, then will the Supreme Goddess decide to take over Elizabeth and do the same thing over again? Since they're gonna be in a weakened state, and she have more of an advantage over them. I can actually see that happening. I could see Meliodas and Bond defeating Demon King and taking out the body for Meliodas to come back. And then everything looked happy and dandy, and then boom, she takes over the body and she starts wrecking everybody. You know, in chapter 300, it was stated that the 7 deadly sins is not nowhere near over. So, a lot of people are assuming that we're going to be ending this very soon, but after what chapter 300 said, which was 4 chapters ago, in that color page, I don't know if 7 deadly sins is going to end in another year or 2. It may take another 3 or 4 years to end. May. I'm not saying that's going to be a good thing, because if he drags the story, of course it won't be a good thing. But at the same time, I mean, if, you know, we have all these things that we still need to do. We need to know more about Gother's, like, creation and why the original Gother did what he did. We need to know what's going on between the Supreme Deity and the Demon King. What's their relationship? Like, was there something between them and that's why they have bad blood? Or is it just because of what their races are? They're racist towards each other. We need to see what's going on with Zeldaris and his girlfriend and the rest of the vampire clan. We need to see what happened to the rest of the angels. Because we know the angels didn't die. They sealed away. And slowly they're coming back. So, and we also need to know where the Supreme Goddess is at and what she's doing right now. Bond hasn't got his secret treasures yet. That's another thing. Not to mention, we know the army of Linus or whatever, you know, Elizabeth Kingdom, her army, they still fighting hordes, demons all over. So, not to mention, a lot of people forgot about King Arthur. You know, he's been hyped up a lot, and then he just supposedly died. So, what are they going to do with him and his kingdom, which got taken over by demons as well? I mean, it started there technically, so. But yeah, 304 of 7 Deadly Sins, really great chapter, really great stuff. If you haven't read it, I advise you to go read it. If you already read it, go read it again. Great chapter, great stuff. But like, comment, and give this video a like, share with your family and friends. Please don't forget to hit the notification bell, because sometimes if you subscribe to somebody, but you don't hit the notification bell, sometimes YouTube won't give it to you. And even if you've been subscribed to somebody for a long time, but then the notification bell is not hit, sometimes they still won't give it to you. So make sure you make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. And again, just like, comment, share with your family and friends, and tell me down below what you liked about the chapter, what you didn't like. And let's have some fun with this, but that's all I have for you guys.